There are homes in the market, on the market right now for sale in North Carolina and around the country that I would not wish upon my worst enemy. Yet most buyers have no idea what they're walking into. Now, I've toured thousands of homes in North Carolina, and when I walk into one of these types of homes, I know right away that it's not worth it and it's a no-go. I'm going to break down the 5 major types of houses that I personally would never buy, and I'm going to show you the red flags that I look for so that you never unknowingly buy one of these houses. Let's jump right into it. Let's kick things off looking at the external environmental factors, because let's be honest, when you find that beautiful house online and you go to see it in person, the last thing most people are looking at is what's around the house. Why? Because you're focused on the actual house itself, the stove, the kitchen. You've got tunnel vision, but what's around that house matters. When I first moved here from New York, I wanted a calmer, quieter lifestyle for my family. The last thing I wanted was constant noise or traffic right outside of my window. And yet I've seen buyers move into houses only to realize too late that what surrounds the home should have been a deal breaker. I had clients that wanted to go into a particular neighborhood, and I know the neighborhood, one part of the neighborhood is good and one part is bad. In a suburb of Charlotte, it's an upscale neighborhood. They wanted to see this particular home. I took them into the particular home and I told them that on one side it's good, the other side is not so good, and not because it's not a good neighborhood, but because on one side of the neighborhood across the street is a sewage treatment plant. When the wind blows in the right direction or the wrong direction, you are going to know that you are right next to a sewage plant. You don't want that. It's the whole neighborhood. Half of it, you won't smell anything. But I pointed it out to them prior to them going to see the house. Now, what other environmental factors spring to mind? Well, Charlotte is home to one of the busiest airports, Charlotte Douglas International Airport, one of the busiest based on takeoffs and landings in the world. What comes with that? A constant onslaught of planes taking off and landing throughout most of the day. Every 45 to 60 seconds, when you get close to the airport, you've got all these planes flying over the communities that are immediately surrounding the airport, that are on the flight path. Literally, every 45 seconds, there's a plane flying over or landing. Now, a lot of people will tell you that when they buy a house in an area like this, they don't even hear the planes. After a while, they don't hear the planes. Why? Because the brain no longer alerts you to the noise. I grew up next to Kennedy Airport in New York. Headlights from the plane landing woke me up when the lights lit up my bedroom at night. Now, lots of noise, but I love planes. So for me right now, it's comfortable. But what happens when you go to resell the house and you've got buyers coming in and looking from all over, and you see that the first thing they notice are the planes? That is a potential problem. Honestly, if you feel the house shake as the bigger planes take off, it should be a no-go. It will affect the resale value. Now let's talk about road noise specifically, interstates. Quite frankly, we have a lot of them here in the Metro Charlotte area. I-485 is very busy, I-77 also busy. The roads that never sleep. You will hear the hum of traffic day and night. You'll hear tractor trailers. Some homes here, multi-million-dollar homes, are built right on the busy street of Providence Road, another busy street here in Charlotte. They are new, they're beautiful, they're $1.8 million, Charlotte's busiest street. When it becomes close to a thoroughfare like that, you don't want to do it. Those homes that I was talking about, the new ones for $1.6 million, won't sell as much on resale, and they took 2 years to sell. Now we've got police stations, hospitals, fire departments. Now in New York City, it's normal to have all this noise and chaos. But if you're moving to somewhere quieter, I don't recommend buying a home right next to the fire department or the police station, because you're going to hear the sirens all day, all night. Especially if you're in the quieter suburbs, you don't want to have that noise. Now, there are homes that have high tension wires and cell phone towers. Now, it doesn't matter how many towers they make look like Christmas trees or make these electrical towers look like the Eiffel Tower. These are eyesores. People do not want to live under them, near them, across the street from them. These are a no-go for me. I don't know how you think about it, but I have people measuring, I have people looking up scientific journals. There's no real information about it being adverse to your health. However, no one wants to buy these houses. There are some lots in desirable neighborhoods that are not going to sell because of the freaking towers. So the overgrown Christmas trees don't really make things better. It doesn't help with resale. And then there are schools. Schools are one of the most important factors to consider when you're buying and selling a house. But here's a question for you. Would you want to buy a house and live immediately across the street or in back of a school or right beside one? Because morning drop off and afternoon pickup is going to be very, very busy. Cars, buses. If it's a high school, you're going to have Friday night football. You're going to have weekend activities. Cars constantly coming and going. And you will hear the kids during lunch hour, especially elementary school, middle school. You will hear kids if you're close by. Could be good, could be bad, depends on you. Next thing, flood zones. I personally would never ever buy a house in one of those flood-prone areas. These are areas that are prone to flooding. There's 100-year floodplains, there's 500-year floodplains. They can be found online on FEMA maps. If your realtor is any good, they will find out for you whether or not this home is in a floodplain, the one that you're like and that you may buy. That has to be determined. Otherwise, you might have to get extra insurance. You might not be able to use the yard. There may be some kind of issue with water coming into the house. You just don't want any of that. So floodplains, right in the middle of like a 100-year floodplain, where there's a known creek nearby, you don't want to do it. Now, with all these environmental factors, the best thing that you can do is go on Google. Google is your friend. Google the house, Google the neighborhood, Google the city that you're going to. See if anything pops out about environmental issues. Check out maps. Zoom in a little bit on neighborhoods, see what's going on around the given house. Oftentimes you can see the electrical towers. You can see if a house backs up to a highway. Also, I think it's a really good idea for you to talk to neighbors. They know what's happening in a neighborhood. You don't just want the house to be awesome. You want the neighborhood to be awesome as well. Sometimes you can pick up a lot of stuff by talking to the neighbors. The next type of house to avoid are the money pits. These are the houses that may look affordable, often built in the 80s and 90s, but they may end up costing you a lot of money in the end. It may cost you a fortune. An aging roof can cost you 25 grand. HVAC system can be 25 to 40 grand depending on the number of units. Windows, if they fog up, if there's a broken seal, windows can cost you $40,000 or $50,000 to replace windows depending on the size of the house. You've got to be careful of this stuff. Then you've got potential problems with plumbing, like polybutylene pipes, which were common. They are known to fail quite often. Not always, but it can be a problem. Also, I want you to be careful with stucco. Hard coat stucco can be fine, but synthetic stucco is notorious for moisture issues. Mold can grow underneath it without being visible. If you knock on hard stucco, it's going to feel like bricks, but if it's synthetic, it's hollow, feels like you can push your finger right through it. It's synthetic, avoid it. My house in New York had it. It was beautiful, but a potential problem. By the way, my name is Eli Magids. I'm a real estate advisor here in Charlotte, North Carolina, and the surrounding areas of Charlotte, specializing in luxury homes, custom homes, and new home construction. But most importantly, I am your realtor with heart. I'm not here to sell you a house, but I'm here to help you find a home and a lifestyle that you and your family are going to love. If you think that we're a good fit, call me or text me. My number is down below. And if you're not moving to Charlotte and the surrounding areas, but you're moving, let's say, from New York to California or to Florida, I have a network of luxury professionals around the country that I can put you in touch with. Just call or text me and I'll connect you to some of the best in this country. Now, the next type of houses that I want you to buy are investor flips. Some are done very well, but too many are done cosmetically only. Fresh paint, new counters, nice floors, but the wiring, plumbing, foundation issues still remain. The house has been bought and sold very quickly or multiple times in short periods of time It's a huge red flag. People move in, discover the problems, and move right back out. They don't want to be stuck with a bad house. Now, if a guy learns how to flip a house on the internet in a weekend, this is not a guy you want to buy a house that he bought as an investment. You can always look up and see when the house was being purchased and when it was put on the market. If it's within a year, we have a thing here in the MLS, if something is within a year, you know that it is a flip. You have to be extra cautious. The next type of house that you have to be wary of is one where there are bad neighbors. This is very hard to pick up. You can't always pick up your neighbors and see if they're bad or not, but you can look for red flags. The obvious ones are lawns that are not taken care of, junk in the driveway, but most of that is not really seen here in the Charlotte metropolitan area, maybe in the outskirts a little bit, but here it's not really going on. But if it does go on, it's going to hurt your resale. Your house might be gorgeous, but when a buyer sees what's next door, they'll keep driving. Walking around the neighborhood and talking to neighbors may help you avoid bad neighbors. People get a bad reputation and you can find out who the assholes are. Sometimes you can get the scoop. When I moved into my neighborhood, there were great neighbors and then they moved. And then you got new ones and there were altercations, uncomfortable when one side or the other is unreasonable. I have clients that want to move because they bought an expensive home. Neighbor next to them on their left is continually bothering them, alerting the HOA of little stupid things, yelling at them, screaming at their son. It is unreal. They want out, they want to sell, they want to go to a place that has no HOA and is quiet. Sometimes I have knocked on doors to find out if people are friendly for my clients, and you can tell a lot by knocking on the door and seeing what the clients react like. Now, you don't want to buy a house on a terrible lot. A steep driveway will be a problem when you go to drive up the driveway. You're going to scrape the bottom. You're going to curse yourself every time you go into the garage. And if you have a very steep driveway going down, like I saw a house here, and it's actually in my neighborhood, the house literally has, it goes down like a very, very steep bank, and there's very little area at the end of the driveway to stop. They have a fence built there, but if you go past that fence, you're going into the woods. You don't want that. You don't need the headaches. You don't need to worry about turning around. My wife said to me, like, if I went into this house, she would crash the car right through the gate or the fence. So don't do that. Be wary. Now I have a bonus tip for you. Tips on the coast here in North Carolina, Florida, or anywhere else for that matter, or in areas that have fires. Houses right on the beach, they look incredible. Incredible views, relaxing, unmatched. Hurricanes don't give a shit about your view. Every year, homes along the Carolina coast, the Outer Banks, Wilmington, parts of South Carolina, Myrtle Beach, Charleston, they take a hit, they get damaged. Insurance costs are through the roof, repairs can be constant, and resale can be tough. If you want the beach lifestyle, consider buying a house at least a few blocks away, but they'll get flooded too. Go a couple of miles away from the ocean without being in the bullseye of every single storm system. It's nice while you have it, but when it goes bad, it goes bad. I have friends and family who were on the water when Hurricane Sandy or Superstorm Sandy hit New York. These people lost their docks, their boats, their pools were upended, their basements were destroyed. Parts of Long Island that I know no longer exist. Places that I used to go out to when I was a youngin' don't longer exist. The land is not there. So be careful of that. Hope this video was helpful for you. Thanks for watching, and I hope to hear from you soon. Until we see each other again next time.